Hey guys, today we're going to be making a wig using the chalk method. These are the things you will need today: a mesh dome cap, chalk, black thread, curved needle, T-pins, and some scissors. So I'm just showing you that the mesh dome cap is on the canvas head and that my T-pins are just stuck in there. It makes life easier, and I also threaded my needle so that we just can keep going. I did it to multiple ones as well. So we're using an 18-inch deep wave frontal today, nice and cute. So now that the mesh dome cap is on the head, you just want to prep and make sure that your cap is pinned down in the back of the naping area with some T-pins. This mesh dome cap I got from my beauty supply store, my local one. It's like $2, shouldn't be more than $2 or $3. So the line that is shown in the middle of your canvas head is showing you that that is the middle of the face. So you want to make sure that the mesh dome cap is centered in the middle so that your wig isn't lopsided or anything. Now we're placing our frontal onto the wig head on top of the mesh dome cap so we know where to place it. I went ahead and placed the frontal onto the canvas head. So I pinned the frontal down in the middle of it, like in the middle. The hairline of the frontal is supposed to be sitting 1 inch in front of the mesh dome cap, not the end of the lace. The hairline, guys. I'm just pinning down the sides of my frontal. You want to make sure that the thick weft in the back of the frontal, which is at the end, meets all the way to the side of the edge of your wig cap. You're going to pin along the edge of your frontal so that it doesn't move as you're sewing down the frontal. So this is where you would make your improvements. I'm just pinning down my lace and making sure that the frontal is 1 inch in front of the mesh dome cap. If you see anything that looks kind of weird or wrong at this time, you should go back and fix your mistakes. Do not sew down the frontal if something is wrong or lopsided, or the frontal will be sewn on the wig and it'll be lopsided or wonky. I'm just tying up the frontal hair out the way so that I can start sewing and getting it onto the mesh dome cap. So there that is, see? So finally we're using our chalk. I got my chalk from Dollar Tree. This method originated from a girl from YouTube. I watched her video. She originally used a Sharpie, a white or gray metallic, but you can see my canvas head is black, and I didn't want to make any permanent markings that would stain my canvas head that would be there forever. I just wanted to keep mine clean. So you're going to take your chalk and you're going to trace the edge of your frontal on both sides like I'm doing now. And by you using chalk, if it's a black mesh dome cap, it'll be easy to see. It can be easily dusted off and it won't stain your wig head and it won't stain your mesh dome cap, but it'll still help keep those stitches nice and straight. I went ahead and I started sewing my frontal onto my wig. I just want you guys to see the lock and stitch method that I'm using to sew down my frontal so that the frontal is on there really good so that it isn't tearing away and that it's really locked onto there. So as you can see, I'm putting my needle through the lace, and then I'm also making sure that it stays in the middle of the loop of my thread. So just pay close attention and see. I'm going through, hold on, I'm going through the lace and I'm making sure that both two sides of my thread are on the sides, and I'm going through the middle of that. So that's like the lock and stitch method. People usually do this when they're sewing on their frontal enclosure so that it's nice and snug and tight onto there and that it isn't going anywhere. So the chalk would be showing on the edge that you traced so that you can stay aligned and make sure that your stitches are nice and straight and that your guts are looking real neat. So I'm going through the lace once again, then I'm going through the mesh dome cap, and I'm going right in the middle of my thread through the loop, so you guys is a better little, view of that. So I just want to let you guys know that's what I'm doing. So this is how it came out, nice and neat, thanks to our chalk method. When you're sewing down your frontal, you're going to sew down two separate sides. You're going to go down one side and then down the other. So the frontal is now sewn on, so we're going to move along and we're going to sew on our tracks, our wefts, whatever you call it. So these are the inches that we're using today. We're using those bundles. We have 22, 24, and 26. So we're going to take our chalk again and we're going to start drawing our lines so that we can sew our wefts on. So you're going to take your chalk and you're just going to draw lines across. And I'm just going to go ahead and do it, and then I'm going to show you it when I'm done. So we're going to draw straight lines going across. And you want to make sure that each line is a finger, like the width of your finger apart. You're just going to keep tracing that. You're going to go up and up and up. And I found it easier to draw the lines in sections, being the fact that there's that thick line down the middle of the mesh dome cap. And you just want to make sure you're drawing these as neat as possible, because I did go back and fix my lines. So I'm just going to let you guys watch and I'm show you when I'm done. I use my finger to make my spaces because I have 3 bundles, so they need to be close together. But if you had 2 bundles, you'd make your spaces wider apart. I'm going to use T-pins to help hold my tracks right on the lines that I drew. I'm going to use those lines as a guideline, and I'm going to stay on that line while sewing my tracks on. So I'm just looping my tracks through the mesh dome cap. You don't have to lock and stitch it. You can if you want, but that's more work. So I'm just going to loop it through on the line so it can stay neat. Wanted to get a little up close and personal and show you that when you begin your tracks onto your wig, you're going to take your needle through the weft, then you're going to go through the middle of your 2 threads, and then you're going to pull to lock the stitch in. But when you're doing this, make sure that you're not going through the side of the band of your wig, because if you go through the band, your wig will not stretch. So make sure you're only going through the mesh, not the band. I just want to show you guys that I am halfway done with the head. Also, I need to show you that I am fixing my lines as I go so that they're straight and that my stitches are nice and neat. Also, I want to say that I was losing space and I was halfway done and I had a lot more hair to put on there. So I had to make my lines a little closer together. So I just want to show you that I'm already basically done. I just want to show you those tracks sewn on nice and straight. And I'm about to show you how to sew on your last track. So keep watching. Finally, we're done. I just went ahead and finished sewing the top. And guys, do you see those guts? Do you see those guts? Nice and straight. What did I tell you? They were going to be nice and straight. Period. So you use this method, you'll be sewing on your tracks like a pro. Just gonna cut away the excess mesh dome cap now. And I want to show you that you're not supposed to cut too close to the edge of the frontal when you sew, because if you do that, then you're gonna risk your mesh dome cap, like I think it's called fraying or whatever, and basically that's when that material will like cause the frontal to detach from the mesh dome cap. So I'm just gonna show you how far I cut away, and you guys will see when I'm finished. So yeah.